Hello, I'm Lucy Whitaker, a specialist motoring law solicitor at Pragma Law. I've been a solicitor advising and defending drivers since 2009, and today I'm talking about the offence of driving while using a mobile phone. The law changed in 2022 and the penalties can be serious. I'll explain in this guide what using a mobile phone means under the current law, what counts as handheld, what is driving, and the penalties you could face. And finally, a little bit of practical advice to keep you safe and out of trouble. By the end, hopefully, you'll know what you can and cannot do. So, for this offence, the prosecution have to prove two things. The first, that you were driving a vehicle on a road, and the second is that you were using a mobile phone or handheld device while you were driving. So it's important to note that the offence can only be committed on a road, so not in a car park. But what does using mean? Well, since March 2022, the definition's far wider. It pretty much covers any form of using a mobile phone that it was intended for. So if you even illuminate the screen, unlock it, read something, try and take a photo, anything like that, that's going to be now covered. A lot of people seem to think that it's only about texting or reading messages, sending messages and making calls, but that's not the case. So, are there any exceptions to using a mobile phone? Well, there are a couple. The first is you are allowed to use your mobile phone to make a contactless payment, but your vehicle must be stationary. If you are making a payment going through a drive-through, you usually won't be on a road anyway, but if you are paying a toll and you're on a road, then your vehicle must be stationary. The other exception is if you are calling 999, it's an emergency and it's not safe for you to pull over. So looking at handheld, because they have got to show that the phone was being held in your hand at the time you were using it. So if your phone is in a proper secure holder in your car and you are just touching it with your finger, that is not going to be handheld. And that is absolutely fine, provided you are not distracted from your driving and you are in full control of the vehicle. However, if you pick up your phone, even for a second, whilst you're using it, then that's going to be an offence. Now, if we look at what driving means, because a lot of people think that if they're sat at stationary at traffic lights, perhaps waiting for the traffic to move off, and they know they're going to be there for a while, they don't see anything wrong with just having a quick look at their phone and seeing who's just sent them a message. But unfortunately, this is an offence, even though you may feel that the risk of danger to anybody is pretty minimal, particularly if you may have your handbrake on and the engine turned off, because many cars turn the engines off automatically. Unfortunately, this is still an offence, and if you're caught doing that, you'll face the same penalty as everybody else who's driving around, perhaps making a call or sending a message. Factors the court will look at when deciding whether you are driving or not include whether you were in the driver's seat, obviously, whether the engine was running, although I've already said it's not conclusive, your journey status, so has your journey ended or are you part way through? Also, control, are you operating or ready to operate the controls of the vehicle? And if the answer to these is yes, it will tend to point towards you driving. Finally, a bit of practical advice. Keep your phone out of temptation's way. It's just so easy nowadays to think it's fairly harmless to have a quick glance at your phone, but if you're caught, it can have severe consequences. Some of the things that I've seen include people putting their phone in the centre console of their car, putting it in the side pocket, or worse still, having it on their lap. Even if the willpower is there to not touch the phone, the police may still think that you've touched the phone and used the phone, and if you then want to challenge it, it's going to be your word against them. The safest thing is to have a secure holder that the phone will not fall out of, or to put it well out of the way where you can't be accused of picking it up. The penalties that you would receive for using a mobile phone is normally 6 points and a fine. There's no power to impose a different number of points. So you can't ask for 5 points in the hope that the court or the police will be sympathetic, because that's just not an option. Unless that you have a full-on defence or there's what we call a special reason, then you're going to be looking at either 6 points or a discretionary disqualification. But 6 points is almost always what is imposed. So if you're a new driver, you need to be extremely careful. Hopefully that has explained to you what you can and cannot do and what the law says about driving while using a mobile phone. If you are accused of driving while using a mobile phone or a handheld device, because it does include those as well, then please do get in touch. The number should be on the screen. Myself or one of my team will be really happy to help. Thank you for listening, and I hope it was helpful.